Hello, this is a video about PPE from a student perspective. I'm Violet, I'm one of the administrators for the degree, and I'm joined by three current PPE students who are going to talk about their time studying PPE at Oxford. So if you'd like to introduce yourselves.
So I'm Rocco, and I'm a first year here at Balliol College, right? And I'll hand it over to Millie.
Hi, I'm Millie. I'm a first year PPE student, also at Balliol.
I'm Aria, and I'm a third year PPEist at Harvard College.
And what was it that made you first want to study PPE, Rocco?
I think I was always going to be a more when I was thinking about where to apply for college, right? And for what degree, I always thought I'd go for a math and stats sort of degree instead, right? Or math and comp sci. But then right before the admissions deadline, I kind of just fell in love with philosophy, right? And a friend had gotten into PPE recently, and so the math that econ has, right? And then the fact that it's this really famous degree which has a big chunk of it focused on philosophy just made me fall in love with it as a degree. So that's why I got into it. That's why I applied. So
for me, it was indecision more than anything. I think the hallmark of a lot of PPE students is that they're really passionate about everything, anything that's interesting, and so that can make it quite hard for them to narrow down their choices of what they actually want to study. So, well, a degree where you can do 3 subjects, that sounds great to me. So it kind of went down that route.
Yeah, I was quite similar to that. I mean, up until sixth form, I was quite into science subjects. So I ended up making quite a big switch over towards PPE. And one of the things which really attracted me about the degree was like the fact that I could do all 3 subjects and keep my options open, because I became like interested in economics and philosophy, which I did for A level. And I hadn't done politics before, but I found since I've come here, actually politics is now my favorite subject of the 3. So I found it's been a really good opportunity to actually like keep my scope really broad.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best bits of the course is that you can really take it in whichever direction you want. Once you come here, you may not have taken the subjects before at school, so you do your first year and you get an 11 playing field. And then after that, it's really up to you what subjects you do and what parts of those subjects you take.
And I can echo Aria right there by saying that like I came into PPE thinking I'd love philosophy the most, right? And then have politics as my second and then just like make do with economics, right? But I ended up really loving economics here at Balliol, right? Partly because of a great tutor, right? And that's another thing which I love about PPE at Oxford, which is the tutorial system, right? Which is like where teachers are willing to spend so much extra time with you to try to like be your mentor and try to guide you along what things align with your interests the most.
You've maybe touched on it a little bit already, but if you'd like to talk about how you found the first year of the degree, Millie, and then Rocco.
I found it quite intense. It's quite funny because I don't know how many people will be able to relate to this watching, but I kind of, especially up to GCSEs, I didn't find school that difficult. And then I got to A levels and it was much harder, but still it was always manageable. And then that first week at Oxford, I was almost shocked because I thought, gosh, everyone here is so clever. How am I going to stand out? How am I going to keep up? And then very quickly you realise that, no, you are good enough. You're here for a reason and you can do it. And then after that, it just becomes a lot of fun because you get to know people that are really similar to you and get beyond the degree, there's all sorts of clubs and societies. And within the degree, the tutors are so passionate and knowledgeable, and it's just such an enriching environment.
I agree with Billy on all those different points. Like I come from a homeschool background, right? So the tutorial system where you have a lot of freedom to like study by yourself, that was so much of a shock. But just like the shifting gears of seriousness and how much of a workload you take on when you come to this degree, right? That was quite a shock at first. But then as you got used to it, right? Then you started to get into like the societies, the clubs, and like the social life at your college. And then you just ease into it and it becomes much more manageable, and you can enjoy it much more once you hit that stage. So.
And how have you found the second and third years of the degree area?
Yeah, so I think some of the best things about second and third year have been, firstly, like the opportunity to really focus in on particular areas of the subjects which I'm most interested in. So at the moment, I've chosen to take politics and philosophy into my second and third year and to drop economics, because you have to do core modules across all three in first year, but you can focus in after that. And I'm currently doing modules ranging from Plato's Republic and Ethics under philosophy to international relations in the Cold War and politics in the Middle East under politics. So like the range of options you have to choose from is one of the things that makes second and third year really, really interesting, because you really get to structure your degree. The other really interesting thing I found about my time here, especially in second and third year, is being able to get involved in more of the societies and more of the stuff going on around the university. So that ranges from things including student journalism and politics, which are pretty classic PPE student pursuits, to college and university sports. So there's really all sorts that you can do, and particularly once you get out of your first year, like most people start to get engaged and get involved with more of that stuff too. So it's been a really good last 2 years.
And finally, what have you each most enjoyed about the PPE degree so far? Starting with Rocco.
I think it's just, again, the amount of care which your tutors are going to take in trying to make sure that you get the most out of your degree, and like the little kind of turf wars that tutors engage in trying to get you to like go with papers that they teach in second and third year, and like keep their part of the degree going into second and third year. That's just been like incredible on the academic side, and then just the people you get to know in the degree on the social side. It's just amazing. I wouldn't trade it in for anything else in the world. So
for me, I'd say that the parts of the degree I've most involved has been politics, especially some of the more modern politics I've done with one of my tutors. We did an essay on social movements and populism and all those trends that are really relevant right now. And since the coronavirus has happened, obviously we're not in Oxford right now, we're at home.
well, speak
Our
for
tutors
yourself.
put together specialised lessons on like the economics and how it relates to coronavirus, and how does philosophy relate to coronavirus. So I've really enjoyed those points and seeing the intersection of how the subjects you study, which can often seem a bit old and grand when you're studying people like Locke, Marx and Rousseau, how it intersects with real modern issues that you see now.
Some of the most interesting parts of my time here have been, I would say, on the degree side, the fact that you get one-on-one tuition with some world-leading academics in their fields is like an opportunity that's really difficult to get elsewhere. But at the same time, it seems intimidating at first, but you actually really get to know your tutors. And they get to know you too, and it's a really personal experience. So not only is it like academically rewarding, but you actually have a really personalized one-on-one, one-on-two sort of scenario for like when you're pursuing your academic interests. And another really important part of my time here has been the college community and the social life. I feel like Oxford's collegiate system is pretty unique in terms of just how close people are as a community, and like how many things you can get involved with, and how many people you can get to know across different subjects. So I think like being part of an Oxford college is what's part of what makes like the degree experience so special.
Yeah, I'd really echo that. Most of my friends didn't go to Oxford, they've gone to other unis, and from what I can gather from them, you get to know people in your flat at the uni, and you get to know people on your course, but you don't really get to know anyone beside that unless you get heavily involved with clubs. Where the nice thing with a college is it's a group of about 300 people and you're all in the same spot, or it can vary depending on the size of the college. So it almost eases you into university, because it's almost like slightly of a school environment in that there's a much wider community and you can get to know a lot of people from different subjects as well, and feel a lot more like you have sort of like a social structure and a community feeling beyond just, you're not just on your own in your flat. There's a wider range of people.
Okay, thank you all very much for watching this video, and we hope that's been useful and has given you a useful perspective on what it's like to study PPE.